Hello, MMA fans, and welcome back to part 3 of the 2023 MMA Prospect Series. My apologies, folks, for taking so long to get part 3 of the video out. Work has been just crazy for me, but we muscled through and we're here today. Um, Again, before we get started, please hit that like button, please subscribe, please comment on the video. It helps myself and the channel. It also tells me you folks would like to see me continue making the Prospect Series this year and also additional content for the channel. Sharing the video also helps the fighters. I mean, I talk to most of these guys and it helps give them exposure. So please, if you can help out to both of us, that'd be very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, the rules for the Prospect Series: no UFC experience, which includes Tough for Contender, no Bellator, no PFL, no ONE FC, and no Ryzen. Another comment is that we're talking about 52 fighters today, which is crazy, but these fighters are not ranked. They're fighters I want to talk about. There may be some prospects that you know about that haven't been mentioned today, but hey, we're doing the best we can. So the stats for today's video, again, 52 fighters, which is a record for one video for this channel. An average age of 26, 23 different countries represented, a combined record of 493 wins, 36 losses, with 4 draws and 4 no contests, and an overall finish rate of 77%. Without further ado, folks, let's get into it. The Welterweight Division. Number 1 fighter, Jaban Alaza, 26 years old, 6'3", 170, a Russian fighter with a record of 7-0, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions for 100% finish rate. Opposition record of 50, 32-1. This guy finishes fights 6 first-round stoppages in 7 fights. Very impressive. He's long, lanky, like most dangerous Dagestani fighters. His wrestling is there, but he's also very submission savvy. This guy had ties to the great Khabib Nabiev and more fighters from that camp and region. He throws very hard, efficient kicks to help set up takedowns and also mixes in some decent handwork. As shown by his record, this guy also finishes fights with that 100% finish rate. Very much looking forward to seeing more of this guy. And again, another comment for this video, because there's so many fighters, and we're not going to go into great depth on each one. But again, I will say, if you're new to the channel, make sure you check out the video section below. We're going to have highlights for every fighter. That's pretty much the norm in this channel. So great opportunity, if you're into that, to check out some of the talent here today. Number 2 on the list. We're going to talk about some pretty badass amateur fighters. Ramazan Ganof, 26 years old, 5'11", 170, fighting out of Bahrain. Dagestani born, amateur record of 31-2. He's a very decorated fighter. Many amateur titles, as you'll see. 2017 African Championships, won the silver. He won gold at the 2019 European Championships and the Asian Middleweight Championships. 2019 World Gold, 2019 Oceania Gold, 21 European Gold, 21 World Championship Gold, 22 Super Cup, 22 Asian Championship Gold. Recently won 4 more fights to become the 2022 IMMAF World Champ, which is the first time we've had a three-peat, I believe, in that weight class. 3 World Championships, which is pretty incredible. Another pupil of the Dagestani wrestling beach, Eldar Eldarov, who we're going to talk about later on in this series. But just this guy is legit. Athleticism, hands, hard kicks. Man, this guy's a star in the amateur ranks, and it's the never-ending line of talent that keeps coming out of the school of Eldar Eldarov, and he just puts some very terrific athletes together. A very exciting prospect to watch. Very interested to see if he'll turn pro now after winning his 3rd world title. At 26 years old, it's a perfect time for this guy to switch over. So Ramazan Ganof, check him out, folks. Next up is a guy we talked about 3 years ago, and Felix Clinkhammer. Man, this guy, talented fighter in all aspects. 29 years old now, so his time is now. 6 feet 170, fighting out of Germany. 8-0 as a pro, 1 knockout, 6 submissions, 88% finish rate, 4-0 as an amateur, all finishes. Opponent record of 34-35. We talked about Clinkhammer 3 years ago. I believe he was offered a spot on a contender series, but he didn't fight. He wasn't, as far as I know, I'm not sure if it's an injury or whatever the case may be, but I decided to include him in the video today. Man, the guy deserves a shout out. Well-rounded fighter to watch. Primarily a submission specialist, but as you'll see in the videos, he's comfortable on his feet. Very athletic. Almost like a karate leg stance, like the likes of a Machida, so to speak. Very good takedowns, and his man finishes fights. I thought he was special 3 years ago, and I stand by that today. So let's hope we see him get a shot. I don't know if he's actually signed with the UFC since his contender series fight fell through, but I suspect to see him fighting soon. Definitely in a big promotion. If it's not already the UFC, you'll see him somewhere. Bellator, 1FC, whatever the case may be. But a great guy to watch out for. If you want to see a great fighter, check out the video section below. Next on the list, at number 4 is Abdul Abduramanov. 27 years old, 5'10", 170. France is where he fights out of. Originally from Dagestan at 16-1, 2 knockouts, 11 submissions for an 81% finish rate. Opposition record of 230 wins, 114 losses, and 4 draws. So he's fought some tough, great opponents, which includes some UFC, Bellator, and PFL vets. Recent victory in his last fight. Tough, hard-fought comeback win. Former Brave CF champ at welterweight and a double champ in Aries at welterweight and middleweight, I believe. Another guy that finishes fights, very dangerous submission specialist, and he's shown some aggressive ground and pound as well. Obviously wrestling and takedowns is his bread and butter with that submission game, but he has improved on his feet, and I believe he's very close to a UFC contract. I mean, at 16-1, he's fought some tough guys in the Aries organization. No real easy fights there for sure. And you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing this guy fight at the next level. So let's hope we see him soon. Moving on, number 5. A guy no one talks about, Shamil Musayev, 29 years old, 5'10", 170. Another Russian fighter, 15 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions for a 67% finish rate. Opposition record of 108, 19-1. A dangerous, undefeated fighter that no one talks about. He hasn't fought since late 2021 as far as MMA is concerned, but a former M1 champ. Wuxi Sanda champ. Shamil is a dangerous striker. Great kickboxer, very athletic, reverse spinning kicks, hard low kicks, spinning back fists, you name it. This guy is fun to watch. Haven't seen much of his ground game. Hope to see more. But again, he's got knockout power. He's great stamina, very athletic, and I certainly would like to see him fight. And I'm really surprised that he hasn't been signed by a bigger promotion. He did get some big fights in KSW, so let's hope to see him back soon. Number 5 on the list, Raheem Forest, 5'11", 170, 25 years old, 6 wins, no losses, 3 knockouts, 1 submission for a 67% finish rate. Fighting in the United States of America with an opposition record of 22-19. Another example of a fighter that used his amateur career, where he was 5-6, to mold into a legit up-and-coming professional. As you'll see in the video section below, this guy is a beast. Big, strong, athletic monster that finishes fights by KO and submission. Big power, takedown defense, clinch control, big knees from the clinch, finishing, punching power, shows some nice submission skills, and I'm not sure what level black belt he is, but most definitely he's very versatile. We'd like to see more of this guy. Definitely do your favor and check out the video section below. Next on the list is a guy I talked about 3 years ago, but you know what? We got to talk about this guy again. The legendary Eldar Eldarov. 31 years old, 5'10", 165, U.S. Bahrain, by way of Dagestan, Russia. 14 wins, 1 loss, 2 knockouts, 9 submissions for a 79% finish rate and an opposition record of 142-76. The amateur coach of the highly successful Bahrain national team. This guy consistently pumps out world champions, and he runs a really good camp. Key wins, he's beat some very good fighters. 8-1 Dennis Maher, UFC veteran beat Leandro Mafra. He beat current UFC fighter Munir Al-Aziz. Bellator veteran Brian Hu. His only loss of his career, as I stated 3 years ago, was to the great Khabib Nurmagomedov. And him and Khabib actually are, have close ties to each other, or very close friends, and he had very close tie to Khabib's late great father. He's the Brave CF super lightweight champ at 165. Obviously, wrestling all day, smothers opponents, wears them out, finishes fights, 11 stoppages. He's got that high finish rate, and obviously with the big wrestling pedigree, but he mixes in some good low kicks, improving striking, and he's a very knowledgeable fighter, a real student of the game, and of course, training under the legendary Nurmagomedov. I'm talking Khabib's father. That says a lot. I would love to see that. I mean, he's 31 now. It's not too late. I would love to see him get a fight in the UFC. You know what? It'd be fun. Not sure if it's going to happen, but you know what? After this career he's had professionally and the amateur career of coaching, it'd be great to see him at least get one shot before he packs it in. So, Eldar Eldarov, check him out, folks. Great coach, great individual. Next on the list, man, another one of these up-and-coming killers we're going to talk about today. Abdulaziz Dilalov, a guy probably most of you don't know, 23 years old, 5'10", 170, USA, but via Russia. Only 3-0 as a professional, with 2 knockouts, 1 submission for a 100% finish rate and an opposition record of 3-7. However, amateur record of 24-0. Some accomplishments: 2017 Dagestan Open champion, 2020 St. Petersburg Pankration Championship, 2016 Europe Combat Sambo Cup, 2021 St. Petersburg Pankration Champion, 2022, I believe, or 2020, sorry, St. Petersburg MMA Champion. So this guy is a beast. The last one was 2018 St. Petersburg MMA Championship. Another example of a fighter with a huge amateur background. We're going to talk about even more of these folks today. By the time he turns pro, he's light years above some of his opponents, like all these guys are. Looks to be very well-rounded. Dangerous striking for sure, in both hands and kicks. Definitely submission threat, and of course, looks comfortable wrestling, as most fighters from that part of the world do. Check out the section below, and at 24-0 as an amateur to go along with a good start to his professional career. He's a guy we got to talk about. Sticking with the amateur, moved into pro with the big background. Axel Sola, 25, 5'11", 170, fighting out of France. 1 knockout, 1 submission. Only the 40% finish rate, but 18-10-1 for opposition record, which is pretty good. Another extensive amateur list of accomplishments, 2017. 2018 European Championship Gold, 2017 World Welterweight Championship, 2018 IMMAF World Championship Silver, 2019 European Championship Bronze at Middleweight, 2019 Oceania Champ at Middleweight Gold, 2019 Middleweight Gold for Pan America, and the 2019 Africa Championships Middleweight Silver. Again, another great KHK product under the great and previously mentioned Eldar Eldarov. Smothering wrestling. Sola is another very seasoned fighter that has the extensive background in amateur that puts him a step above his opponents. Very agile, athletic, and, moving southpaw, ever improving. Really looking forward to seeing more of Axel fight. Continues to improve his all-around game, and a guy you definitely want to check out. Next on the list, excuse me, folks, another veteran I wanted to talk about that a lot of people don't know about this guy. Karen Egzukak, 31 years old, 6 feet 170, Fighting out of Turkey, potentially via Germany. I'm not sure on that one. 18-4, 12 knockouts, 3 submissions, 83% finish rate. Opposition record 202, 123-3. So very impressive. EMC middleweight champ and potentially former GMC welterweight champ. This guy puts on exciting fights, and he's a very dangerous striker. The training partner of Poatan, Alex Pereira, striking partner, is a statement in its own right. When you're training with Poatan, yeah, you're putting yourself at risk. So recently fought at middleweight, so I'm not sure, if he's going to stay there or go back and forth, but I wanted to include him in the welterweight video. Great fighter to watch, man. Very comfortable on his feet, patient yet explosive, throws hard leg kicks, and can finish fights with his hands, kicks, you name it. He has submitted folks. Would be great to see this guy get a shot. He can strike with, a big majority of the folks in the UFC now, 100%. Put him in UFC at middleweight or welterweight. Put him in Bellator, UFC or welterweight. Heck, throw him to PFL. He's 31. Time is now, and again, exciting fighter that deserves some promotion. Please check him out and check out the video section below. Next on the list, another amazing striker, a 31-year-old that probably a lot of you folks haven't heard about, Ramy Hamed. 6'1", 170, Lebanon, via Russia. 12 wins, 3 losses, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. 75% finish rate. Opposition record 103, 72-1. Extremely talented, high-level kickboxer. If you haven't seen Ramy fight, I urge you to check out the video section below. Very comfortable, patient, and smooth on his feet. He delivers some devastating leg kicks, as you'll see in the video attached. Punching power and damaging ground and pound. A very athletic and entertaining fighter to watch. Would love to see him get more eyeballs from the fans. Obviously, the submission part of his game is very questionable. I don't know how much experience he's gotten that. But man, this guy is fun to watch. Check out the video section below, Ramy Hamed. Next on the list, another beast that had a good amateur career, Murad Gusanov. 27-5, 71-70, fighting out of Bahrain via Russia again. 4 knockouts, no losses. 1 knockout, 3 submissions for 100% finish rate. 18-24 is the professional opposition record. However, another great amateur fighter with an extensive amateur background. IMMAF 2018 World Championship bronze. 2019 he won gold at the Junior European Championships and the Junior World Championships, and in 2021 at the European Championships welterweight silver. Again, another member of Eldar Eldarov's juggernaut KHK MMA team. Well-rounded, seasoned, dangerous prospect, smothering wrestling, dangerous submission game, comfortable on his feet. With striking. Definitely looking forward to seeing more of Murad. Check out the video section below, folks. Next on the list, man, we still got a lot of fighters to talk about. But Basingoy Krishudinov, 21 years old, 5'10", 170, fighting out of France. 6-0, 2 knockouts, 33% finish rate. Opposition record 22-12. Last 2 wins over a 9-0 and 6-0 fighter. Another young, great prospect in the talent-rich welterweight division. Again, he's fought some decent competition, and we'll continue to see how this fighter progresses. But he's going to get some good fights fighting in the Aries promotion. No shortage of high-level training partners. MMA Factory with the likes of Cyril Gane, Nazardine Imanov, and Ayan Kutlaba, to name a few. Very well-rounded for a young fighter. Pretty good everywhere, stand-up and grappling. Looking forward to seeing more of this young beast. Next on the list, Camil Megomedov, a guy we talked about 3 years ago, and we're going to talk about him again. 31-5, 8, 170, fighting out of Russia, 10 wins, no losses, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions for 100% finish rate. Opposition record 74, 57-2. Again, we talked about Camil 3 years ago in the 2020 series, and he continues to improve. Another great, well-rounded Russian that finishes fights, 10 finishes, and an evenly split 4 knockouts, 6 submissions, man, shows the versatility. Not going to go into great depth over Camil because we did talk about it 3 years ago, but heck, I feel the guy deserves a shot at a bigger promotion before age takes over. So let's hopefully we see him get a shot. Next on the list, man, this amateur beast of a lot of beasts continues. Nikolai Nikov, 25, 6 feet 170, fighting out of Bulgaria. As a professional, 4-0, 3 subs for a 75% finish rate and an opposition record of 11-10. Man, according to him, his sight, 46-3 as an amateur. I couldn't track all those fights, but I found a number of them. I know he won the 2016 IMMAF European Championship for welterweight, gold medal, and he won the same gold medal in 2017. I haven't seen a ton of footage on him, but from what I've seen, he, again, smothers opponents at wrestling, opens them up for submissions, and that deep amateur career really separates him from his current opponents. Guy to watch out for. Check out the video section below. Next on the list, Aliak Salov. Man, another beast with that amateur background. 25, 5'10", 170, 3-0 as a professional, 2 subs for a 67% FR. Opposition record of 3-6. However, another 24-0 amateur fighter. Got a list of accomplishments. All Russia MMA Cup gold, Commonwealth 2019 Cup gold, Valery Kolkov Memorial 2019 gold, Cup of Russia 2019 gold, Russia MMA Championships 2019 gold, 2017 Junior Cup of Russia gold, ECF MMA Championship gold in 15, FCF MMA Global Fight Zone 2015 gold, FCF MMA Russia Cup gold. And these tournaments are all one-nighters, I believe, or 1 to 2 nighters with multiple fights per night. Very impressive. And obviously with his background and that track record, man, he's got an advantage over opponents. It's another guy you got to check out. If you're a hardcore fan like me, definitely a guy that you want to see. Next on the list, a very probably not well-known guy over here in North America, but Amman Arria fighting out of Turkey. 22. It's only 5'6", but he's a beast at 170. I believe he's fought at some catch rates, 160, 165, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% FR. Opponent record of 36-32. Another young beast that came out of nowhere. Ahmed is a short powerhouse that finishes fights. Obviously at 5'6", maybe he's better suited for lightweight, but he looks strong so far at 170. Fun to watch, looks to be well-rounded. Takedown, wrestling, ground and pound submission skills. It looks comfortable on his feet for sure. Showing one punch KO power, which you'll see in the video section below. So please, again, the guy to check out from Turkey, Magomedkamil Malikov. Next up, Maurice Aevi, fighting out of Switzerland at 22 years old, 6 feet 170, 6 wins, no losses. 3 TKO, 3 submissions for a 100% finish rate. Opponent record of 19-11. Another young, talented fighter. Prospect in the deep welterweight division. 100% finish rate with a variety of subs, ground and pound and strikes. Tall, strong, and very athletic. Check out the video section for a very high-level sub. I believe it's a calf slicer. Something we don't see a lot of. So really cool fight. Or a really cool submission to see. Check it out. Maurice Aevi. Next up, Cédric Doumbe, 30 years old, 5'10", 170, fighting out of France. Man, another kickboxing star. 4 wins, no losses, 4 knockouts for 100% finish rate as a professional. Opponent record of 11-6. But again, as I mentioned, another world-class, multiple champion kickboxer transitioning to MMA. A kickboxing record of 75 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw with 45 knockouts. Another disclaimer, Cedric was supposed to fight on the opening France card for the UFC, but whatever the case was, he couldn't get sanctioned in France, I believe, because his record was only like 2-0. So I don't know if I'm 100% right, but that's what I heard. And for some reason, because MMA is new in France, the commission wouldn't allow him to fight there. And I can't say for sure that's it, but I'm pretty darn close to saying 100% that's why the fight never happened. But regardless of all that stuff, you know what? I talked about the high-level kickboxing. He's a former multiple division glory champion. K1 championship, and many other kickboxing promotion championships. You know, I'd like to see him get a shot. The guy's 30 years old. Yeah, I don't know if he has any wrestling, but there's fights that would be exciting to see if he was in Bellator or UFC or one or PFL. Maybe another fight or two and some more training to just work on that ground game a bit. But yeah, he's fun to watch. So do yourself a favor and check out the video section below. Next on the list. So if you want to see a really badass knockout, this is one of the better ones you're going to see today. Amman Arria, fighting out of Russia, just 21, 6'1", 174, wins, no losses, 3 knockouts, 75% finish rate. Opposition record of 25-14. Another young beast out of Russia. I don't know how great he is in terms of being well-rounded, but he's got big power, I'll tell you that. And he throws, pretty nasty spinning kicks. He finishes fights. So this guy, you'll see in the video section before, he was fighting a 30-fight veteran, Igor Lasicek, and man, he delivered a nasty overhand. When he hit his opponent was so out of it, it looked like he was saluting, like he was in the military. You got to check this knockout. He just gave this big salute, and then as he fell over, Amman finished off with a deadly powerhouse shot that put him out. But check him out. Very odd KO. Like I said, it looked like this guy was out on his feet. Looked like he was saluting like you do in the military. So one to check out for sure. Next on the list, Megomed Megomedov, not the guy who fights in Bellator. 27 years old, 5'9", 170. Another guy, Bahrain via Dagestan, 11-0, 2 submissions, 3 knockouts for a 45% finish rate. Opponent record of 78-41. Yet another beast from Russia. I believe Megomed may have moved. I believe he told me he's fighting now at lightweight, or majority of his fights are there. But nonetheless, he has fought at 170 before, and I already had him in a video. So a guy to watch out for, but you may see him at 155 whenever he gets picked up. I heard some comments, about the lack of excitement maybe in his game, but he's a legit prospect, man. He's 11-0. He's got, 50% or 45% finish rate, but he's beat some good opponents. Obviously being from Russia, like a lot of those guys from Dagestan, wrestling is the base. But another prospect at 11-0. With where he trains and who he trains with, and the way he's handling opponents, he deserves a shout out for sure. Next on the list, Vadim Kovsky, 31 years old, 6'1", 170. 6 knockouts, 6 submissions, a 17-1 record for a 71% finish rate, and an opposition record of 197, 25-1. Another fighter with a great record and no one talks about. Vadim has beat some decent opposition, as you'll see in the video section below. He's got big power, one punch knockout power. He's got a big knockout over UFC veteran Ismail Nurdiaf, so check it out for sure. Shows power in his hands, power in his kicks, and that versatility with 6 submissions and six knockouts shows his well-roundedness. And at 31, you know what? It'd be nice to see him get a shot before it's too late. Not saying he's going to win world titles or be ranked, but hey, 17-1, he's knocked out former UFC fighter, so let's give him a shot. Someone. Next on the list, Adrien Basinski, 27, 5'11", fighting out of Poland, 170, 13 wins, no losses, 10 knockouts, 1 submission, 85% finish rate. Opposition record at 122, 88-1. Another high-flying Polish prospect. Man, you know what I'll say about the Polish fighters? They show up to fight. Brawlers. I mean, you don't see a ton of fighters coming out of Poland that don't show up to fight. Throwing bombs all over the place. So, I mean, exciting to watch for sure. And Adrian's no different. He's a guy that finishes fights, that great record. Throws high volume, mixes in the takedown. And you know what? At 13-0, this guy deserves a shout out. And he's going to be facing a very tough opponent at KSW 81. It's that's coming up here right away. Artur Shashkitsky, who we're going to talk about. But yeah, check out the video section below. You know, in MMA, you don't see a ton of guys that are 13-0, so definitely he deserves a shout out. Next on the list, Nick Meck, 28-5, 10-170, fighting in the United States of America, 5-0, 2 submissions for a 40% finish rate and an opposition record of 16-20. From what I can see, an amateur record of 7-0. Another beast at 170. Nick has now gone undefeated in both professional and amateur ranks. You know, a decorated high school wrestler and fought A's Collegiate Wrestling. Nick has brought that success from wrestling into his MMA career. Very physically strong athlete, utilizes big slams, takedowns, and great wrestling technique. Has given Nick a big advantage against his opponents. Looking forward to seeing more on Nick. Check out the video section below. Next on the list, Ian Harris, 22-6-1, 170, fighting out of Wales. Great to see a prospect coming out of Wales. An amateur fighter right now. 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. The 2022 IMMAF European champion in the senior male welterweight division, winning the gold medal. As I mentioned, great to see a fighter come into Wales. Ian starting to get on the scene and make some noise on the amateur scene. Picked up some great experience at the IMMAF, and he's turned that into multiple amateur fights in the Cage Warrior banner. He's very long, rangy, a submission specialist that finishes fights. You know, he's definitely a guy with that length, man. That's big for 170, that 6'1" long frame. I guess, of course, now you see a lot of guys that size at 170, to correct myself there, but pretty rangy fighter, and definitely a guy that after I watched one fight, I wanted to see more. So I believe the potential is there. So got to check out. I don't know if he's planning on turning pro soon, but he's only 22. Great amateur record. You know what? Maybe in a year or two he turns pro. Next on the list, Khabib Nabiev, fighting out of Russia, 24-6-1, 176 wins, no losses, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions for a 100% finish rate. Sorry. Opposition record, 29 wins, 32 losses, 3 draws. Another Russian fighter with ties to Khabib Nurmagomedov and a student of the great Abdul Abduramanov. The list continues to keep this guy going and going. Takedowns, wrestling, posture control, all the typical dominant abilities we see from Dagestani fighters. Good size at 6'1". For the division, he's another guy for sure that you will see get a shot with another win or so in a bigger promotion. A guy to watch out for, Khabib Nabiev. Next on the list, we're going to give a quick mention of this guy too. We talked about him 3 years ago. Aliak Salov, 30 years old, 6 feet, 170 out of Russia. 13 wins, no losses, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions for a 77% finish rate, an opposition record of 74-85. Again, he was folks were talking about lower level competition, but he's beat the folks they put in front of him in dominant fashion. We talked about him 3 years ago, so I'm not going to talk a lot about him, but he also had an extensive amateur career, winning multiple tournaments, making him that much more experienced than his 13-0 professional record. Although he's not flashy, he finishes fights with those 10 stoppages in 13, so he uses wrestling to cook fighters. We like to say cooked in the MMA world, meaning you wear them out, opening them up for a chance at submission. At 30, the window is now. Next on the list, and this is our first disclaimer of the day. It took a long time to put this video together. And when I was doing it, we included Rolando Madya. Since that time, Rolando has been signed to the UFC. He hasn't fought yet, but he's been signed. You know, many may not know that, but we had him in there already. He hasn't fought yet. We're going to keep him there. 26-5, 11, 170. Fighting out of Peru, which is pretty cool. 14-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions for a 50% finish rate. An opposition record of 107 and 73. Disclaimer, again, we know that he's been signed, and he's supposed to fight Chaos Williams, which is going to be a pretty tough fight for him. He's definitely a guy that Rolando will not want to stand in front of. Again, I don't have the date written down when he's supposed to fight Chaos, but definitely it would be interesting. I mean, Roland has done well, 14-1. I don't know if he's ready for Chaos or some of the beasts he's going to face at 170, but nonetheless, you know what? You got to congratulate for getting there, and he's got a great record, so it'd be cool to see him. Next on the list, this guy is legit prospect. He can speak. Sounds like the Paddy and the McGregors of the world, but 24-year-old Adam Cullen fighting out of England. 6 feet 170, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions, 100% finish rate, opposition record 25-17-1. Some decent wins. Great to see another prospect coming out of England for the UFC. Cullen is outspoken, exciting fighter that looks to finish his fights. Starts fast out of the gate, uses strikes to close the gap and get the takedown so he can work a sub game. He had lots of amateur experience, and that helped him become a seasoned professional early in his career. Lots of growth still to be made, just at 24, but would like to see him get another 3 or 4 victories, and hey, then it's time to move up. So a guy to watch out for, and a great-looking fighter, Adam Cullen. Next on the list, boy, we still got a lot of fighters left. Anatoli Boa, 24, 6 feet, 170 out of Russia, 11-1, 4 knockouts, 4 subs for a 73% finish rate. Opposition record 60-40 and 60-41-1. Another great prospect that came out of nowhere, and I saw him fight against UFC infamous Juzimir Palhares, an 11-1 fighter that had that brutal win over Juzimir Palhares. One-sided fight. I got it in the video section below. Just steamroll over Juzimir. He uses his reach well. He's good size for a division at 6 feet. And you know what? As you'll see, he's got power and got a nasty left high kick. I haven't seen a ton of his work, but or in his wrestling, sorry, but most definitely, man, it's definitely a guy that we could see fighting a bigger promotion, especially with that win over Juzimir, gives him a bit of exposure. So a guy to check out. And again, check out that fight in the video section below. I think you'll enjoy it. Next on the list, going back to Poland, Artur Spezniak, 26-5, 11-170, 9 wins, 1 loss, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions for a 78% finish rate, an opposition record of 85-41-1. Very tough and upcoming fight against the previously mentioned 13-0 prospect Adrien Basinski at KSW 81. An exciting fighter that finishes fights. Power in his hands and kicks, as you'll see in the video section below. He's fought lots of legit opponents, and it'll be interesting to see how he does against Basinski. Both fighters most definitely will get attention after this fight. Hopefully one or both will move up to a higher promotion. Next up, Viktor Marenko, 28-6-2, 170, fighting out of Belarus, 8-0 with 6 knockouts, 1 submission, 88% finish rate, opposition record 31-31, a tall, rangy welterweight that finishes fights. He got his first taste as when he last fought for a tough ACA promotion, winning by spinning back fist. Viktor fights at a high pace, exciting to watch. He switches stances regularly. So the southpaw mixes in leg kicks nicely. He looks comfortable working off his back, but I haven't seen a ton of his wrestling, his takedown or takedown offense. So looking forward to seeing more of Viktor, a guy to check out. Next on the list, Victor Ramirez at the USA, 6'2", 30 years old, 171, and I believe he fights at 155 as well. 6-0 with 3 knockouts, 2 submissions for an 83% finish rate. Opponent record of 32-25. Amateur record of 5-0. Disclaimer, I believe Mitch was one of the guys that was signed to the Ultimate Fighter, and the rumor was he was one of 3 guys that made the show, one to get in, but McGregor replaced with some of his own fighters. So I can't verify again that that's 100% true, but that's the rumor on the street. You know what? Haven't seen a ton of him, but stand up, mostly seen his work on the mat where he appears to be, pretty comfortable. And at 30 and getting some attention for the Ultimate Fighter, Mitch is, a decent prospect, but hopefully now he's going to get something because he is 30. Next on the list, Jacob Smith fighting in the USA, 27 years old, 5'6", 175 wins, no losses, 4 knockouts, 80% finish rate, opposition record of 20, 56 and 1. A physical specimen, Jacob was an OSU wrestling standout, and that pedigree has got him off to a 5-0 start in his MMA career. 4 knockouts in 5 fights, still only 27, so he has time yet. The key will be how well-rounded he can become. I don't have a ton of footage, although most of his fights have been on UFC Fight Pass, so it's hard to get a lot of videos. But I got a link to one of his fights on Instagram for some nasty slammage. Check that one out. Next up, Vitali Spanko, 28 years old, 6'1", 170, fighting in Ukraine, 16-4 with 5 knockouts, 3 submissions for a 50% finish rate. Opposition record of 229, 107 and 5. The ACA welterweight champ, Vitali, as an overall, may have fought the deepest and toughest competition on today's list, potentially. Fighting in the very tough ACA against fighters with good records, shows a good mix of striking, wrestling, and can win by TKO or submission, and has shown he's got the gas to go the distance. Not sure how long he's under contract with the ACA, but hey, as the champion, with that record, a couple more wins, might be time to move on up. Definitely got to watch out for. Next up, Islam Dulativ, 23, 6'4", 170, Germany via Chechnya. 7-1, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions, 100% finish rate. Opposition record 30, 32 and 2. Man, a guy that I also seen listed at 6'6", so I don't know how tall he is, 6'4", 6'6", but this guy is a monster for 170. Not sure about the actual height, and I kind of went back and forth on whether to include him or not because you haven't seen a ton and the opposition has been tough, but hey, another monster coming to Chechnya with that size. He's on a 7-fight win streak. He does have some amateur experience, and at just 23, with his size, with his record, you know what, let's talk about him. Check out the video section below. Next on the list, Joshua Harrell, 24, 5'70", 170, also fights at 155, I believe. 6-0, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions for a 100% finish rate. Fighting in the United States of America with an opposition record of 25 and 26, and I believe 6-0 as an amateur. I also believe he's had mixed 155 and 170 fights, so I'm not sure where he's permanently going to be at now. I think he may have made the move to 155, but again, I can't verify that's going to be a stable base. This guy is short, compact beast. You'll see in the video below the type of takedowns this guy has really legitifies his wrestling. A fight finishing prospect, a guy that can beat you via submission, KO or TKO, and has shown the ability at both the amateur and professional scene to do this. Successful high school wrestler, has the attributes to become a dangerous matchup for anyone. So look to see him get a shot in Bellator or maybe the Contender Series soon. I'd like to see him personally get another couple of fights before he makes a jump. Next on the list, I believe this is our one and only Canadian for the day. Urgay Setta, 25, 5'9", 170, again fighting out of Canada, 5-0, 2 knockouts, 1 submission for a 60% finish rate. Opposition record 14, 14 and 1, and I believe he has an amateur record of 5-0. Another interesting welterweight prospect, Urgay is a jiu-jitsu black belt and also competed and won the 2019 No-Gi Purple Belt World Championships at super heavyweight. Man, so he's got some good size for 170. Not from a height perspective, but he's a big guy from a physique perspective, I guess, so to speak. Not a lot of footage on him. Again, most of his fights have been on UFC Fight Pass, but another guy that likes to cook opponents, wear them out, and set up some ground and pound or submissions. So Paul looks pretty comfortable on his feet. I mean, I'd say there's room for improvement for sure, but an up-and-comer, 25 years old, an interesting prospect from Canada. Check out the video section below. Next up to our monster list today is Turkmanov at 24, 5'10", 170 at a rush, 8-1, 5 knockouts, 68% FR. Opponent record of 83 and 47, so some good opposition. Turkmanov is a beast, right? He's beat some great opponents. He's still relatively young with room for improvement, but he's got lots of polish, and you know what? He's a fight finishing prospect. He's fun to watch. He's got power, as you'll see in the video section below, where he won via brutal head kick KO. And I haven't seen a ton of his wrestling, so that's one of the questions I have. But man, this guy moves good in his feet, so I wanted to make sure he got a shout out. Next up, Cédric Doumbé, 29, 5'10", 170, 10-1. 2 knockouts, 8 submissions for an 80% finish rate. Opposition record 49-45. Another great under the radar prospect. Fighting out of Kazakhstan, Cédric is an exciting fighter to watch and finishes fights. He moves pretty well on his feet, throws hard punches, hard leg kicks, good from the clinch, and is showing a dangerous submission game as well with those six finishes and an 80% finish rate. I'd like to see more of him, so check him out. Next up, Szerzany Olejniczak, 23, 6'3", 170, fighting out of Poland. Another monster out of Poland, 11 wins, 2 losses, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions for a 60% FR. Opponent record of 125, 63, and 2. The current fight exclusive night welterweight champ is an organization in Poland. Szerzany is an exciting prospect to watch. A southpaw that finishes fights, both KO and submission skills, and he's beat some great opposition. With another win or two, I most definitely either see him move to the KSW promotion or perhaps Bellator or the UFC. But he's a good, cool fighter to watch. 11-2. He's got a good record. He's only 23. Check out the video section below. Next up, another under the radar welterweight fighter, Boris Medvedev. 30 years old, 5'11", 170 at Russia, 15 wins, 2 losses, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, 67% FR. Opposition record 191, 90-1. As mentioned, another under the radar welterweight beast from Russia with KO and submission power. He's beat some great opponents. Southpaw fighter, throws hard left hands, goes to the body a lot, and has good finishing instinct. A guy nobody talks about with that 15-2 record, and at his age, it's a perfect time for this guy to get into the UFC or Bellator. 2 great knockouts in the video section below from Boris. Check him out. Alright, folks, this next one for some of you is going to be a chuckle. Yes, this is a real person, and this is the name he's listed under. Khamzat Maaev. Pretty close to Chimaev, Khamzat. 22, 6'1", 155 to 170. He even looks like Khamzat Chimaev. Fighting out of Turkey, I believe, via Russia. 3-0. 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 100% finish rate, opposition record of 4-3. And yes, folks, this is a real person. Crazy to know, but he's still a legit looking prospect. Decent size for 155 or 170 at 6'1", and he's only young, so he's going to fill out. And he looks great. I mean, although he's fought very low experience competition, guy looks like a beast, and he finishes fights, and he's fun to watch. You'll see, I believe, the Darshchok win in the video below, aka Khamzat Maaev, eerily familiar. So you got to check it out. Yeah, you'll get a kick out of that. But again, the name, the looks, the size, the submission, all eerily close to Khamzat Chimaev. So perhaps Boris 2.0. But check him out, Khamzat Maaev. Pretty cool stuff. Moving along, folks, you know what? We're getting there. We got a handful left, but Abduramanov, Aliak Megomedov, 25, 5'9", 170 at a rush, 11-1, 0-1, 1 knockout, 6 submissions, 64% finish rate. Opposition record 58, 36-1. Another guy we talked about 3 years ago in the 2020 series, so we're not going to go into too much detail, but you know what? He's another guy with a great record. Some people knock him about the excitement level, but he's 11-1. Dagestani fighter with, great wrestling. He's a legit prospect, and as you'll see in the pictures, this guy is hanging out with some pretty cool company. Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nabiev, that whole crew. So I wanted to make sure he got a shout out again. Moving on, another guy we talked about 3 years ago that I want to include in this, Urgay Abduramanov, 27-5-9, 170, fighting out of Russia. 16-1-1-1, 5 knockouts, 8 submissions, 81% finish rate, opposition record of 95-48-2. Urgay, again, we talked about him 3 years ago, but he continues to improve, and he's still only 27. He's fairly comfortable on his feet. Like many Russians, though, wrestling is bread and butter. Uses it to ground and pound opponents. And I believe he was supposed to fight Kevin Lee in the Eagle FC promotion when Kevin was there. But the fight never came to fruition, and Kevin re-signed with the UFC. So that fight's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But a guy I wanted to talk about, so check him out. Next on the list, another unknown guy, Vitali Spanko, 24-5-10, 170, fighting in the Kyrgyzstan, 9-1-1, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, 89% finish rate, opposition record 45-19-2. This guy is kind of flew under the radar, like I mentioned. An action-packed fighter that finishes fights and recently competed for the LFA. And he finished the favorite, Jalen Fuller. Man, he could strike, he can grapple, he could submit you, and shows he has some big takedowns in wrestling. Interesting prospect for sure. Definitely a guy I'm looking forward to seeing more of. Next up, another beast that kind of flew under the radar, Ray Waters, 29-5-11, 170, just 3-0 with the 1 knockout, 1 submission. Opposition record 14-10 and an amateur record of 3-0, I believe. But the reason I wanted to put this guy in there is this guy is a wrestling scary beast. He had one of the most scariest slams that I seen. It was very reminiscent of Fedor and Randleman from back in the day. You'll have to check it out. I don't know how his opponent lived and didn't break his neck. It was a scary slam, and this guy is a strong beast. So not a lot of experience, but with that wrestling background, and when I seen his slams, I said we're going to include this guy. So Ray Waters, check him out and watch at your own risk. Next up, Ilyas Kazakhstan, 31-6-3, 170, fighting out of Russia, 11-2. Huge welterweight with 7 knockouts for a 64% finish rate. Opposition record 133, 63-2. Again, a huge welterweight. Exciting to watch. Under the radar that nobody talks about. Has power and likes to stand. His fights don't hit the ground much. He's got KO power, as you'll see in the video section below. At 31 years old, time is now. I'd love to see him hop over to Bellator League right away. Again, very big for 170 at 6'3", and a guy that I enjoy watching fight, so hopefully you will too. Next up, Megomed Malikov, 29-5-11, 170, Germany via Russia, 10-1, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions, 90% FR, with an opposition record of 104 and 48. Another prospect who beats some great opponents. Malikov finishes fights, throws hard punches, and uses his wrestling to set up ground and pound and submission to finish fights. Definitely a guy that would like to see him fight some more opponents, where I could see more of his game. But at 10-1, he's beat some decent guys. You know what I'd say at 29 years old too. Another fighter, so let's see him get a shot. Let's see how he does. Moving on, folks, and again, we are moving pretty fast because there's so many fighters. So these last few folks I'm going to zip through. Ramazan Ganof, 29, 6 feet, 170 out of Russia, 9 wins, no losses, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, 89% finish rate, opponent record of 28, 27-1. Another prospect that I don't know much about, Ramazan is an undefeated professional, finishes fights He throws some decent leg kicks and, utilizes the takedown to get his opponent where he's comfortable. He's fought Eagle FC and Fight Nights Global, to name a few. So definitely a guy with that record in the background. Would like to see more. Ramazan Ganof. Next up, I believe we're down to the final two, folks. Ali Takibak at 25, 5'9", 170 out of China. 5 knockouts, 2 submissions, 54% finish rate. Opponent record 104, 75 and 2. Great to see a prospect out of China, 13 and 2. Again, another great example of a prospect that no one is talking about. He's also fought some decent competition and looks to be fairly well-rounded with takedown, grappling and wrestling and striking all seem to be decent. Limited footage I've seen on him, but at 25, there's still time. Looking forward to seeing more from Ali. Check out the video section below. And last but not least, Alexander Vasilov, 22, 5'11", 170 out of Russia, 10 wins, 1 loss, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions for a 70% finish rate, an opposition record of 66, 41 and 2. Another young southpaw fighter that finishes fights in both TKO, KO, and submission ways. Still a little raw, but fights at a high pace, exciting to watch. Very active and comfortable on his feet. I've seen him take down opponents as well. But he immediately hunts for the submission. He's very comfortable off his back, and at just 22 years old, man, there's room for this guy to grow. He's got a great record, and he's off to a great start. So I believe that's it, folks. 52 fighters, and you know what? It took a long time to go through this video. I looked at probably 1,000 welterweights, no joke, and I had it narrowed down to 65, and then we had a few folks get hurt. Or not get hurt, lose fights, and then I found some more information, and I was trying to get to 50, but I wanted to include everybody in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope for you fighters that you watch, you're happy with the call out. Again, folks, really appreciate everybody watching. I hope I'll hear from you. I hope to gain some more subs. I hope to get some likes. I hope to get some comments. I like talking MMA. I'll talk MMA with anybody, time permitting. I do have a busy schedule, so it might take a little bit for me to get back to you, but I certainly hope to hear from you. And I look forward to continue this series. It's going to take me a while to get the next video out. I'm thinking I'm probably on a 1 per month kind of pace because of how busy work is. But again, the goal still will have the bantamweights to do, featherweights to do, lightweights got to be tough to put together. There's so many lightweights. We got to do the flyweight. We got to do middleweights, and we're going to do one for the women for sure, a series. So 6 more videos to put out in the Prospect Series. And also I got some really cool stuff for other videos I want to talk about. It's not going to be prospect related, but stuff that's interactive and stuff that's I'm super interested in. And I'm hoping that the hardcore MMA fans and maybe some of the casual fans will like too. So again, thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to being back doing part 4, probably in a month or so. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to hear from you all soon. So take care, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again.